The GOP appears to have a problem with women, or as my dad would say, womans. And it's clear when you look to the number of women represented in Congress. So after the midterms, a lot of women actually lost their bids for re-election. In fact, female GOP lawmakers shrank from 23 to only 13. And so now the remaining women are trying to urge the GOP to pay attention to the fact that they have a problem with women, to do something, and more importantly, to encourage women to run as Republicans, and more importantly, encourage female leadership within the GOP. But that doesn't appear to be happening. So I'll give you some examples. Now, House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy, the current House Majority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, didn't want Representative Ann Wagner leading the National Republican Congressional Committee. The California Republican called Wagner to express his preference for a far less prominent male lawmaker, Representative Emmer of Minnesota. Now, Representative Wagner apparently has been a fighter within the GOP. She's raised a lot of money, and for people who believe in that type of corruption, that is a big deal. And so when you look at her qualifications, there's no reason why she wouldn't or shouldn't get that role. But Kevin McCarthy's like, nah, I'm thinking about someone who's less qualified. Now, Wagner is about to relaunch a suburban caucus in the House aimed at winning back suburban women by promoting issues like paid family leave and child care tax credits, which sound like progressive policy proposals. Maybe she should reconsider her political affiliation, but nonetheless, Cenk, jump in.
Yeah, so Ann Wagner went around the country and has been doing this for several election cycles, trying to help Republican women win their elections. And not this cycle where they got killed, but in the cycle earlier, she was fairly successful, got 5 new women elected into Congress, and as Republicans, obviously. So if you're the Republican Party and you care about winning, you would think that that's wonderful. And here's a person who raised money for those folks, increased our majority last time around, has all this experience. And the Republican Party, of course, loves corruption. And so they're like, oh, you're raising a lot of money. Oh, that's obviously a huge win for them. So why shun her? Well, you just saw those policy positions. They don't want those things. They don't want paid family leave. They don't want child tax credits. They don't want any of that stuff. They're like, it's annoying to have this woman running around disagreeing with us. How dare she? In other words, and so it's not complicated. They don't agree with your policy positions. They can agree on other things. They could be like, oh man, maybe she hates immigrants too, and maybe she loves selling out to the rich. I'd be shocked if she didn't, right? And so she probably agrees with them on 90% of stuff. But they're like, you actually want to be decent to families? No, that's a hard no. Thank you, but no thanks. Tom, whoever that guy is, Emmer, whatever, you step in. We can't have that woman with those positions. Go.
Well, I think it also goes beyond positions. When someone tells you who they are, you should believe them. And the Republican Party in general, through their actions, through their statements, through their policy proposals, have shown time and time again that they do not feel that men are equals to women. They don't or equal to women. They don't see it that way. And so when Republican leadership or Republican men in general tell you over and over again that they see you as a second-class citizen, why are you shocked when they treat you as a second-class citizen? I mean, you see it all the time. And when I bring it up, Republicans get so upset. But just open your eyes and see the way that they treat women. You're supposed to be the submissive woman who stays at home to raise the kids. How many times do we need to hear them say that for you to believe it? But nonetheless, there's another example of how Republican members of Congress female members of Congress have been shut down by Republican men. So there's Representative Elise Stefanik, who has been also trying to get women to run in the Republican Party. And she talks about that a little bit in the next video. Let's take a look.
I am proud I won by 15 points in my district, in a swing district, but I think we need to do some lessons learned and significant assessments of what went wrong, which is why I'm very focused on rebuilding my leadership pack to help women in primaries, help them early on to help shape the field and shape the types of candidates we have heading into Election Day. But it was pretty stark, Rachel, going into the conference meeting after the election and taking a look around and realizing, wow, this is not reflective of the American public.
Now, Representative Tom Emmer did not agree with her efforts to encourage women to run as Republicans. Emmer told a reporter that Stefanik's idea to help female candidates in primaries was, quote, a mistake.
Oops. I mean, how clear do they have to make it for you, right? And so she then said, I wasn't asking for permission. So,
Yeah.
Which is a nice quote from her, but welcome to the Republican Party. And you have to go, and to be fair to Stefanik and some of the other women who are rebelling against the Republican leadership, look, the Democratic leadership has its own corruption problems, and progressives don't get funded either. In fact, they get tremendous funding dumped against them in primaries. But there, the divide is between progressives and corporate Democrats who take corporate money. In the Republican Party, the divide is a little clearer. Like, no, I don't want you to help other women run for office as a Republican, so it's a mistake. And yeah, you should ask me for my permission. What do you mean? We're Republicans. And that's why there's almost no Republican women in Congress, and everybody pretends to be shocked and chagrined. Do you know that about 90% of the women in Congress are Democrats? 90% are Democrats.
That is pretty insane.
Do we think that that's a coincidence? Like, oh, just hey, they flipped a bunch of coins and look at that, randomly it was 90%. No, because the Democratic Party has positions that are in favor of women. And the Republican Party has positions that are definitely against women. I know on TV you can't say that, I don't want to offend Republican voters. But the reality is you are against paid family leave, you lobbied against it in several states this year, that's a fact. You're against taking care of kids and when they're sick. I could go on and on and on. Certainly against women controlling their own bodies. That's a fact. I mean, you can say Jesus told me, and that's not true either. But Yahweh says I need to control your uterus. That's fine, but you can't then claim you're pro-women because that's saying shut up. You don't know what to do with your body. I'm going to tell you what to do with your body, and then you're surprised that you don't have a lot of women in your party. Wow, shocking.
And it's Republicans who have consistently voted against the Violence Against Women Act. And that was simply legislation that would provide extra resources to women who have been victimized by domestic abuse or domestic violence. But I mean, again, how many more examples do you need? I'll give you one more. So Republican Representative Diane Black in this same Politico piece said the following, this is a direct quote. Businessmen sometimes are a little bit cautious about giving women these big checks. She's specifically talking about donors here. If they're married, they say they have to talk to their wife. Black added that she decided to start meeting with couples, which often yield bigger checks. So invite the wife to dinner as you're trying to solicit campaign donations because, the Republican male donors don't really respect us, don't want to write us the check. Anyway.
And there's another element of sexism there that's unacceptable, but welcome to the Republican Party. They have to check with their wives. Why do they have to check with their wives? Because their wives might assume that if they give a female congressman money, that they might be sleeping with them. That's so sad. That's so sad. And that is how Republicans view women. And then they can't figure out why there's almost no women in their party. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.